Today on BRStv's 52 FAQ, we're feeding some tanks. Hi, I'm Ryan RT Turner, one of your hosts of BRStv, with another episode of 52 FAQ, where each week we answer questions from our popular 52 Weeks of Reefing series. Today, we're answering Brandon Reidy's question from week 41. Do you feed the tank in the same spot every day, or do you mix it up? Do you spread the food over the entire length of the tank? We'll touch on a few different techniques of feeding your tank, some popular tools to do so, and finish with a few quick tips to help make feeding your tank just a bit easier. In week 41, we talked about your fish's nutritional needs, fish foods including the right type of food, how often, how much, and some cool feeding accessories. When feeding your fish in your aquarium, there are a few techniques out there that hobbyists have had great success with, the two major ones being spot or target feeding and broadcast feeding. The most common technique by far is broadcast feeding. This method simply involves adding food to the aquarium en masse, allowing your aquarium's pumps or power heads to disperse or broadcast the food throughout the tank. This usually means that not only do your fish get a fair chance at food, but your corals and other invertebrates do as well. A more specialized approach to feeding is target or spot feeding and can be used as a strategic tool to ensure some of your more sensitive fish are able to get fed. This Picasso trigger here is a bad habit of keeping all the food to himself, for example. My preferred method to do this is by distracting some of the more aggressive eaters in the tank with a quick burst of food and then targeting some of the other fish away from the aggressive eaters. These orchid dottybacks at Chadbred are absolutely tiny and a great example of a perfect candidate for target feeding. This method can also be used with fish that are stationary or ambush predators like scorpionfish, frogfish, and even some seahorses. One of the more essential tools for feeding your aquarium is some sort of baster. I wouldn't use the one from your kitchen, so I'd recommend purchasing an inexpensive one dedicated for your tank. Simply thawing your frozen food or soaking your pellets in a plastic cup or glass, loading the baster with them, makes feeding your aquarium with either technique super easy. There are also some other great options out there like Julian's Thing and the Skims coral feeders. To answer Brandon's question, it depends on the critters you're caring for and the food that you're feeding, but with that being said, we usually like to mix up where we're feeding daily. This way the fish don't become trained to move to one spot in the tank where they get fed as soon as they see you. Our clown harem tank's a great example of this. They're always fed in the same spot and they instantly gravitate to that corner as soon as someone moves in for a closer look. Feeding the entire width of the tank is also a good idea to keep in mind. Not all fish will be aggressive enough to work their way over to one end of the aquarium, and dispersing the food across the tank gives those fish a fair chance of catching some food that floats by. In my experience, jawfish and some gobies are great examples of this. They can be voracious eaters, but they don't usually like moving too far away from their burrows. A quick tip, when broadcast feeding, I'd recommend feeding just enough food to the tank so that it's consumed within a 2-minute or so window. This keeps food from going uneaten in your system, reducing the amount of nitrate and phosphate being added to your tank. Additionally, nutrition is key, and it's worth mentioning that good, high-quality pellet and frozen foods will do wonders for your fish's health. There's quite a few methods you can use to help feed the fish in your aquarium and about just as many opinions. I hope I've helped offer some ideas and tips that you can tailor towards your reef. To learn more, check out our video from 52 Weeks of Reefing, Week 41, Feeding Fish, Selecting Food for Maximum Health and Longevity. If you have any questions or tips for us or the BRS community, share them in the comments area down below. In today's poll, we're asking, what's your preferred method of feeding? So please vote and let us know. I'll see you in the next BRS 52 FAQ, where we answer Mark Morgan's question from Week 42, how do you calibrate a controller's temperature probe?